were free. Not almost free. Not trying to be free. Actually free. You had gone days, maybe weeks, without falling. You could feel the difference in your spirit. Your prayers felt cleaner. Your mind felt clearer. You looked at yourself, and for the first time in a long time, you actually liked what you saw. And then something happened that you still cannot fully explain. You were not ambushed. You were not caught off guard in a moment of obvious weakness. You made a series of small, completely justifiable decisions that somehow, step by step, walked you directly back into the exact same place you swore you would never be again. And now, you are sitting with that familiar weight back on your chest, wondering one thing. Why does this keep happening to me, specifically? Not why does lust exist? Not why is temptation real? Why does a man who genuinely wants freedom, who has tasted it, who has fought for it, who has held it in his hands, keep finding himself back inside the same trap he already escaped? That question has an answer, and it is not the answer you have been given before. Every explanation you have ever received about why you fall back treats the return as a failure of willpower. You were not strong enough. You were not disciplined enough. You did not pray hard enough, or fast long enough, or build high enough walls around yourself. And that explanation has been slowly destroying you because you have tried all of those things. You have been stronger, more disciplined, more committed, and you still ended up back here. So either you are uniquely broken in a way that no amount of effort will ever fix, or the explanation itself is wrong. The explanation is wrong. Here is what nobody has told you about the lust trap. It is not designed to catch men who are weak. It is designed to catch men who are free. The trap does not activate when you are deep in the sin. It activates the moment you escape it, because a man deep in sin is already where the enemy wants him. It is the man walking out of the trap that becomes the target. Think about that for a second. The most dangerous moment in your battle with lust is not when you are falling, it is when you are free. Here is exactly how the return happens, and I want you to follow this carefully because you are going to recognize every single step. When a man escapes the lust trap, something specific happens to his spiritual alertness. The pain that kept him vigilant begins to fade. The desperation that drove him to his knees every morning starts to feel less urgent. The walls he built during the battle begin to feel like they can afford to be slightly lower now that the immediate threat has passed. This is not weakness. This is human. Every soldier who survives a battle eventually has to rest. The body and the mind cannot sustain maximum alert indefinitely. God built us that way intentionally, but the enemy knows this better than you do. He does not come back at you with the same obvious attack that you already defeated. That would be stupid, and the enemy is not stupid. He comes back at you with something that does not look like the trap at all. A small compromise here. A slightly relaxed boundary there. A justifiable exception that costs you almost nothing individually, but collectively, step by step, walks you back toward the exact door you came out of. By the time you recognize where you are, it is already too late. You are standing inside the trap, looking around at familiar walls, wondering how you got back here without ever making one single obvious decision to return. That is not a coincidence. That is a strategy. 2 Peter 2:22 says something that most people skip over because it is uncomfortable. It describes a man who escapes corruption and then returns to it, and it compares him to a dog returning to its vomit and a pig returning to the mud after being washed. Now, before that imagery makes you feel condemned, I need you to understand what Peter is actually diagnosing. He is not calling you an animal. He is identifying a specific spiritual reality that most teachers avoid, because it requires saying something that sounds harsh before it sounds like grace. The reason the pig returns to the mud is not because it forgot what the mud felt like. It returns because the washing changed its outside, but not its nature. The mud still feels like home to something deep inside it, even after the cleaning. And that is the most honest diagnosis of why men return to the lust trap that exists anywhere in Scripture. It is not about what you did on the outside during your season of freedom. It is about what remained unchanged on the inside while you were free. You stopped the behavior, but the appetite that drove the behavior was never fully replaced with something stronger. It was suppressed. And suppressed appetites do not die. They wait. Now here is where this gets really specific. And I need you to stay with me, because this next part is the thing that is going to actually change something for you today. There are 3 specific internal conditions that make the return almost inevitable. And if you are honest with yourself, you are going to recognize at least one of them operating in your life right now. The first condition is comfort without cultivation. This is the man who escapes the trap and then coasts. He stops the sin, but he does not replace it with anything that feeds his soul at the same depth. His quiet time becomes routine. His worship becomes mechanical. He is maintaining his freedom, but not growing inside it. And a soul that is not being fed will eventually go looking for food. It does not care where the food comes from. It just knows it is hungry. The second condition is isolation without accountability. This is the man who fought his way out of the trap completely alone and decided to stay alone in his freedom. No one knows what he came out of. No one is walking beside him in the season of rebuilding. He carries the full weight of maintenance by himself. And a man carrying full weight alone for long enough will eventually put it down wherever he is standing, even if that place is the exact location of the trap he escaped. The third condition is identity without anchoring. This is the most dangerous of the 3 and the least talked about. This is the man who escaped the trap, but never rebuilt his understanding of who he is without it. The sin was such a consistent part of his daily experience for so long that freedom feels unfamiliar, uncomfortable, like wearing clothes that do not quite fit. And without a deeply anchored new identity to inhabit, without a clear and present understanding of who God says he is in this new season, the old identity pulls like gravity, because at least it felt like home. So what do you do with this tonight? Not a formula, not a 5-step plan, something real. You identify honestly which of those 3 conditions is most present in your life right now. Comfort without cultivation, isolation without accountability, identity without anchoring. Just one. The one that when you heard it described, you felt the specific discomfort of being accurately seen, because the return to the lust trap is never random. It always has a specific open door that preceded it. And the man who can name his open door before the enemy walks through it is a completely different man from the one who discovers it was open after the fact. You did not fall back because you are broken. You fell back because something specific was left unaddressed in your season of freedom, and something specific can be fixed. The trap is real. The strategy behind it is real. But so is the God who already mapped every inch of it before you were born, and left you a way out of every single version of it, according to 1 Corinthians 10:13. You are not too far gone. You are not uniquely cursed. You are a man who now knows exactly what he is dealing with. That knowledge is your weapon. Use it. If this named something specific for you tonight, drop a comment and tell me which of the 3 conditions you recognized in yourself. Just the number 1, 2, or 3. No explanation needed, because naming it here is the first step toward closing it permanently. And if you have not watched the video on the specific traps Satan runs through attraction itself, watch it next. The 2 videos together give you the complete picture of what you are actually fighting. Link is on screen. Subscribe. We are just getting started.